because it's very hard to see on this thing. If it looks like we're working now. Okay, beautiful. So our topic for tonight is creative expression as self-love, and it is not only self-love in itself, but it's also a tool of self-love, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we'll be together for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to make a beautiful offer to you that is going to be available, open and available until Sunday of this week. And then the cart closes, the offer goes away, and the price goes up. So here we go. Let's get started. Let us light our candle. And we know that when we light candles, this is always about inviting in spirit. So we're inviting in the goddess as we light the candle. Woo. And you know, you can always tell if there's a lot of spirit, a lot of energy in the room is by how tall the candle flame gets. Okay, and so this is going pretty good here. It's a very nice bright candle here. So I'm going to assume we have lots of spirit here with us tonight. So let's talk a little bit about the feminine power of creativity. Okay, and the idea that we don't only use creativity for creative projects, we use creativity to create our lives, but we also use creativity, that creative capacity that is within each of us, to heal. And that's something that I really want to focus on during this week, that when we talk about creative expression being an act of self love, that we are enabling ourselves to get down to our most basic level of our authentic self, our most authentic place of being when we are creative. Because to be creative, many times we have to turn off all of those voices in our mind or in our energy field that engender self doubt, that engender feelings of lack, feelings of not being worthy enough, feelings of being valueless, because you cannot truly create if you are allowing all of those other negative emotions to impact you. These are the kinds of things that prevent us from being at our most creative and our creative best and actually having our creativity rise. And as you know, we have a creative center in our body, and we call that the sacred womb. At least I call it the sacred womb. And the reason why I call it the sacred womb and not just the womb is because it is housed in our sacral center. And we get the word sacred from the word sacral, right? Um, and that when we're talking about this area of our body, which is not just what we think of as our the front side of our bodies, but it really goes through the body from the masculine energy center in the front to the feminine center at the back, which is your lower back, your sacroiliac, which also gives us the word sacred. It's all this entire area is our creative center, and that it includes not only the water center that is our womb, but also our kidneys as well. So we want to have all of these centers really clear, open, flowing, working in our favor. And this is what is going to give us our greatest creative flow. Because we know that one of the most important pillars of the divine feminine is the idea of flow, but also the idea of abundance. These two go hand in hand. You cannot have flow without abundance, because what's flowing? We don't want something negative to be flowing for us. We want that abundance of positivity, of positive energy, of positive feelings to be driving us toward whatever it is that we are trying to create. And by positive, I don't mean the way we think about it these days, where everything is rah rah and love and light, whatever. That we think of as positivity. But even if you are dealing with something heavy like grief, okay, that can collect in our water center, even that, while we think of grief as being a negative emotion, sometimes we need that flow of grief so that we can feel it and release it. Sometimes we need that flow of anger so that we can feel it and release it, because no emotion is meant to be held on to forever. They are our guideposts to how we're feeling and how we're reacting, but they should not be something that becomes permanent within us. So all of these emotions, whether we think of them as being positive emotions or not, can flow, can rise, can ebb, um, but then dissipate and be alleviated for us. So let's get into our creative function in that sacred womb. And I want to say, before we get into a little bit deeper into this, that men have the same energy in their bodies that we have in ours. It's just a little bit different, because we all start out the same. We all start out female, and then when our brain becomes masculinized by testosterone and androgen and all kinds of other hormones, we start to develop different sex organs. Okay, and we start to produce more of the particular hormones that we need in order to be either, on the masculine side or the feminine side. So um, men carry the same energy, just in the different organs. So let's get started with the top of the womb, right? The top of our womb is our air center. And that air center has to do with concepts of views of new things, with the color yellow. And it really is a place representing the rising sun. So when you think about anything that has to do with the sun rising, what is the first thing you notice when the sun is rising? You get more light. You get more um, of an ability to view what's going on, right? You have some new ideas because it's a new day. There's a feeling of freshness and of being restored when you are thinking about the new day. Okay, um, and one of the things that I love to do is that whenever I am opening a circle or doing work, I always start in the east, even if I'm doing exercise that I want to, or a body prayer that I want to use to open the four directions. I always start in the east because that is a place of newness. Okay. And it's also represented by spring, which is the time of the year when everything, at least in the northern hemisphere where I live, is new. Everything is coming to life again. So then we get to the right ovary, which is the fire sign. And when you think about it, isn't fire very reminiscent or essential to the summer weather that we're having right now? I mean, I was outside all day yesterday and I had to go lie down because there was just a little bit too much fire for me in one sitting at that time. And fire energy is all about our passions. What are we excited about? What is motivating us? What is driving us forward as we are expanding from just our new horizon into what we're actually trying to create in our life? And this is our creative spark. This is what gets us going. And so, this is such an important aspect of our creativity. And the other very, very important aspect of our creativity is the right ovary, which is our water. Now, water is all about ease, about flow. We were talking about this, and it is particularly powerful here because the um, the womb is the water center of the body, and then to have water activated within that water center, it is some powerful stuff. And so it's all about the ease and flow of whatever is coming into our life, our abundance, our money, whatever it is that we want to bring more of into our life. And it's connected with our emotions, the depths of our emotions. And it's also, to my mind, this is really where the shadow self hides, because we think of it as being part of our ego, right? Part of that solar and lunar plexus. But this is the place where the shadow itself resides, in the depths of the waters that we carry. So we really want to be able to understand and plumb those depths. We want to treat it as if it's an iceberg, right? Treat our psyches as if they are an iceberg, and that we only see 10% up on the top, right? Where it's visible, where we understand it, where it's kind of in the light. And then we have 90% that we never ever see. And these are our shadows. And when we talk about things like healing our inner child, this is the depths that we have to delve into to find all of the pieces of ourself that we have lost. Okay, we do that both with solar and lunar plexus energy, but we delve down into these deep waters to find where parts of ourselves have dissociated in psychological terms or have gone missing in shamanic terms. And then finally, we have the bottom of the womb, which is our earth center, which is our place of belonging, our place of shelter, all our basic needs. And this is the place where we feel the most grounded and where we really interact with our physical body. And so all of these four centers work together to create that creative engine that is inside of us. And so we need all four elements in order to be creative. Okay. And unfortunately, sometimes we let our energy get a little bit out of whack. And here's one way that that can happen. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I very much resonate with water, with the emotions, right, with flow. But sometimes you can get too wrapped up in the emotions, in the waters, right? And then you know you have to pull back a little bit. You have to come back from that particular element. And the opposite energy to water is fire. So that means we need sometimes to get out of our emotions and get into our actions, get into our doing phase so that we can counteract what's going on in our womb at that time for our own homeostasis, because this is what our energy really requires. It doesn't require that there is some kind of rigid structure to our energies. It does require, however, that we allow for that certain flexibility and flow within a homeostatic container, so that we're not going off the deep end one way or the other. We're not getting so much into our earth that we don't get anything done. We're just content to lay in the grass and enjoy mother nature at our beck and call, or that we don't get, say, so lost in air that all we're doing is thinking, but we don't bring any of what we're thinking about into reality. So we need all four of our energies to work together, as well as to work with the center, which we call the Aditi. This is the center of our womb, which is our most creative space from which anything can emerge. I mean, think about the craziest dream you ever had. You know, the other night I had a dream with four people that are dead, but they could appear in my dream and appear real in my dream. And it was only upon awakening that I went, wait a minute, they're all dead. How can they be here? Right. So, what we really want to be able to do is to tap into each of these four elements as needed and allow them to flow together in whatever way is the most convenient and is the most welcoming and creative for us. And this is all in the realm of the divine feminine. This is what she brings to us. And one of her most important um, tasks is to inspire creativity, is to create something new of value and importance. So, this is the way we are most created in the image of our creator, is that we also create. So, now how can we use this creative energy as a healing tool? Well, I want you to think about a difficult time that you've had in your life. It could be the loss of a person, it could be getting fired from a job, it could be just finding out a friend you thought was true was false. And whatever event in your life that you picture for yourself, you know, if we take those times and maybe journal about them, create art about them, sing a sad song from the radio or when we make up, we can help ourselves express our own need for artistic healing. I mean, there's a whole, uh, um, um, I can't think of the word that I want to use, but think about art therapy, right? I'm keep thinking of regimen, but that's not the right word. But think about the fact that there is a whole um, discipline. That's the word I was looking for. Discipline of art therapy, where people use art to help them cope, to help them release, to help them let go of what's not serving them, to help them uh, bring back memories, to help them deal with harmful or traumatic memories or experiences. Okay, so we know that art, drawing, dancing can all be therapeutic for all of us. And this is why I always encourage uh, my clients and people I know to have an artistic outlet so that we don't just wait until times are bad where we resort to calling on our creative attributes, but that we have some muscle memory of what we can do, how we can make ourselves feel better, be better, release what we don't need, ways in which we can um, release our tears, release our grief, and continue to heal ourselves from the experiences that we have in this world. And unfortunately, this world does not seem to be in the upward spiral where it comes to healing or where it comes to people working together to create a better world. We seem to be in a crazy place in this spiral, and so we really need to have ways in which we can heal ourselves and others. And I encourage you that if you have any kind of artistic practice, that you use this also as a healing tool, not just maybe to earn money or to for just enjoyment, but allow yourself to indulge in this habit as you seek to heal yourself from whatever traumatic experiences you may be experiencing at this time or have experienced. Okay. Now, we all know that our womb is our creative center, and we can just put our hands on our womb for a moment I know I said we were going to do this in 20 minutes, and we're going over just a little bit, but we want to just put our hands on our womb for a moment. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now just continue to breathe normally. And if you can, feel the pulse of your womb. Your womb naturally has a pulse, just like your heart. In fact, our womb is considered to be our first heart and our first brain. So imagine that feeling that pulse of your womb in your hands. It may just feel like it comes in and out with your breathing. Okay. And I want you to ask your womb a particular question. And that question is to ask your womb what wants to be expressed through me today. What does your womb wish you to know today? It could be about yourself, it could be about a relationship, it could be about the world, it could be about anything. But ask your womb what it wants you to know, what it wants you to express, and in which way it wishes you to express it. Because your womb may just want you to have a big primal scream and let out whatever is being held there. Your womb may wish you to sing a song. You may hear a song in your head, and you may want to think about what the lyrics to that song are and why your womb would want you to express it in this way. Maybe you can picture something in your mind that you should be drawing or painting. Or maybe you just feel that impulse to create, to draw or write or sing, or maybe dance out whatever your womb is saying to you. Okay? And then finally, take one last breath in, hold, and release. And as you remove your hands from your womb, make your womb the promise that you will work on whatever creative project that your womb wishes to express right now through you. Okay, so now, um, I always like to leave you with at least one goddess to think about, one goddess to do some research on when it comes to this. And I'm thinking of the goddess Saraswati right now, who's a Hindu goddess of the arts, and she's often depicted with all kinds of arms, and in one arm there's she's playing a lute, and in the other arm she's got a pen, and next arm she's got a lamp, and she is all about bringing forward that which you need to create right now. So we've been talking about it kind of all spring, and now we're into summer, and so it is time now that if you have not done so before, if there is a creative project that has been on your mind to create, now is the time. Do not let it wait. Do not let it wait. Okay, so now I want to share with you a little, where are we? A little presentation that I gave about a program that I'm offering, and it's only going to be like a little 5 minute um, presentation here. If I can find the right screen. Let's see. I haven't done this on this particular program yet, so let's see. I've got too much crap open as usual. So where did we go? Okay. Um. Here we. Oh, here it goes because it's the name of it. Here. Oop. Unfortunately, that is not the right thing. But let me just tell you about it really quick because um, it's not showing on my screen to share. So let me try just this one more thing, and it should be here. Where do we go? Okay. So no, he's. I don't see him. I don't see him. So let's just talk about it. And the program itself is called Cracking the Creativity Code, and it is a program that I have given for a few years now, and it is a really wonderful program, and I hope you will take notice of it. I will put the this. I'll see if I can put the slides in the chat. Here we go. Um, Here's what you get with cracking the creativity code. You're able to connect with your creativity in a deeper way than you ever have before. Through meditation, movement, contemplation, and active work, you will explore our three sources of imaginal intuition, which is the third eye, the heart, and the sacred womb, and how each of these sources connects with the three intuitive centers of the body. It's a 3 week do it yourself program that has covers three topics: meeting your muse, stalking your story, and breaking out of your box. Now, meeting your muse is all about meeting up with goddess energy that wishes to work with you on your creative project. Now, if you don't know, the Muses were nine daughters of the Greek god Zeus, who were actually demigoddesses, and they uh, were all about inspiring people to their creative endeavors. One of the muses was Polyhymnia, which is where we get the word hymn from, where she was the patroness of sacred song. There was also Erato and Clio and various other goddesses that had to do with writing and with art and with every aspect of creativity that you could think of. And so it's great to want to connect with this kind of goddess energy that can inspire you to whatever creative endeavor you wish to complete right now. And so don't be surprised if when you do your meeting your muse meditation, that you get a goddess that has absolutely nothing to do with those original nine muses from Greek mythology. That your muse has a different name, a different purpose, and a different way of inspiring you to greater heights in your creative endeavors. Then we have stalking your story. And the second part of this is called Stalking Your Story because we're talking here about the story of your life, not necessarily this, the story you write or the story you create or the song or the dance or whatever that tells the story. But here we're talking about the story of your life. And there are only so many different kinds of stories that we can tell with our lives or even in our fiction. And these stories might be about, say, the adventure story or the romance or the murder mystery or the stories about certain kinds of adventurers. Think about different movies that you've seen and the different kinds of characters that you see there, right? Yesterday my family got together and we're big Star Wars, Star Trek, any kind of star anybody. we love. And when you think about it, if you think about the main characters in the story, say Princess Leia's story is definitely different than her brother's story, Luke Skywalker's story. Um, and I'm only talking about the first three movies because I think those are the only ones people really like and they've seen, right? Two different stories, even though they're characters that are twins. So, what kind of story are you telling in your life? And when we are seeking to tell a story, say we want to tell the story of the plucky heroine who rose from nothing to having, a great life, a kind of rags to riches, but it doesn't have to be riches we're talking about. It could be, rose to fame or rose to prominence in whatever area you choose. If you are telling that story, that's a story that needs to be told. But not only do you seek to tell your story, that story might be seeking to be told, right? That story, may just be your destiny. So when we are thinking about the story that we want to tell, we also want to think about how it is it that we are coming to that story. Is that story meant for us? And that will change how we live our lives. So it's very important to figure out, are you just trying to tell a story, or is that story trying to be told through you? Okay. And then the third phase, the third week is breaking out of your box. And this is all about getting out of the mindset of how many times society or our parents or maybe just we get into our heads that we're supposed to live a certain way or do certain things, think about ourselves certain ways, and that we limit ourselves to whatever we think we're supposed to be doing or what other people tell us we're supposed to limit ourselves to. And then we never live that grandest story of our life that we could, regardless of whatever story we're trying to tell. Sometimes we narrow down our choices by believing that we have to conform to certain ideas and ways of being that may not even really suit us. That we do that because that's what society says, or our parents say, or maybe we just even look out in the world and say, I don't want to do this or that particular thing, right? So we do need to examine where we are. And if there are any things that are holding us stuck in place that don't even really serve us. Maybe old ideas about what people should do, how people should earn money, um, old thoughts about, you know, what you should be determined by your identity. Some of those things really need to go. Some of those things really need to uh, let loose so that you can live the most expansive life that you want to live. Okay. And so that's why we end up on that note of opening ourselves up to the grandest possible dream we could have for the lives that we have. Okay. So, what you get for each topic is an introductory audio, meditations, movements, and other practices to explore your energy centers, worksheets, and other activities to further explore your creativity. And you also receive a 21-day art and creativity journal with daily prompts to respond to either through art, writing, or some other means. And one of the fun things about this 21-day journal is it is loosely based on the cards in the tarot. So if you know the story of the tarot, the story of the major arcana in the tarot is the story of the soul going through life, starting out as the fool, knowing absolutely nothing and getting to the point where they are not just themselves, but also emblematic of the entire world, of the entire universe. They become part of that. So when we think about that journey through the tarot, how does that impact you and your development as a person? And especially as a creative person, are you opening yourself up to every opportunity that is there during that beautiful sacred journey? And so, if yes, great. If not, this creativity journal can help you see where you can open yourself up even more, not necessarily to expand outward, but to understand yourself going inward. And that's where we really want um, to operate from that, as we say, from that recovered shadow self that we hold inside. And this is where our creativity really lies. So we want to bring out all of that we can. So, um, in closing, I'm just going to put in the chat. Let me see if I can get it in there. This is the link that you can go to, and I'm gonna put it up here on the screen. This is the page that you can go to if you want to find out more about cracking the creativity code, because it is a code and you can crack it to expand your creativity, not just in your art, but in your life and in your work. So um, I would like to end tonight on that note. If you'd like to find out more about it, let me know. And I thank you for being with me tonight. And we will continue next time. Next Monday, we'll have another Moonday message, which will be part of, as this has been, part of our summer of self love. If you want to know more about the summer of self love, please just find me on any of my social media and you can see the prompts that we have every day. You can see the videos that we have every day and be part of the summer of self love by downloading the Summer of Self Care Challenge workbook. And that's all about create, creating a time and a space for you to take care of yourself this summer. I appreciate all of you who have been with me, and I will see you